Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. We are back on the dev server and we're having a look at another new ground vehicle that is coming in for Italy this time. And this one's a special one. It is the C13 TUA. Now, the TUA is actually the first squadron vehicle that has appeared for Italy ever, which is super surprising because for some reason, a bunch of other nations have multiple squadron vehicles. So, for example, Britain, you have the Bishma, right? You have the Super Hind. For aviation, you have the Firecrest, and you also have the Sea Harrier. And then you also, at the same time, have like a bunch of others for other nations that are around the place, like the F5 EFCU for Japan. But Italy, for the longest time, just didn't have one. And I have no idea why. They just decided that everything either has to be a premium or in the standard tech tree. So the C13 TUA at rank 6, battle rating 8.3, is the first of its kind in the Italian tech tree. What is also really interesting about it is it's very similar to one of the first ever squadron vehicles that was added to the game, which is the M901 that you find over here. And the similarities, I mean, it's pretty similar, but it's enough to be different in terms of it. What you find on the C13 TUA is kind of the M901 armament and turret. So you have this kind of setup, which is a tow launcher, and it's able to hold two 80 gems at the same time, and also give you access to thermals, making it a really good system in order to do damage to the enemy. You also have a really nice optic on it, which is good enough to be able to kind of bring the missile in and also use the thermals to be able to see where everything is. Where the vehicle differs from the M901 is pretty much everywhere else. It's based off the C13 chassis. If you only have access to the live server, you can actually find the C13 chassis right here on the Otto C13 T90, and its amount of crew, where they're situated, and also the internals are very different too. You have a 4-man crew, you have one dude at the back, you have the commander and also gunner and the driver, and the commander actually has a very interesting role. He can also drive the vehicle. So if you lose your driver in the front, you can still actually be mobile around the place, which is really surprising. Then you have the engine, which is a 360 horsepower Fraccini, which is quite good. You have a transmission, which means that you'll be able to get to really nice flanking positions pretty quickly and be able to take out the enemy very, very nicely. And at the same time, you have all of these backup 80 gems in the back of it. They've also updated the actual setup here with the FCS on the vehicle, the C13 TUA, which provides for the operation of the module, vertical aiming, drive, horizontal firing, and MVDs. One of the things I do want to mention is in the last update, what they ended up doing with the T90M and also many Soviet vehicles, they actually said that they had modeled the FCS system in them, and you can see that it is actually here. But they also said that they were not going to add its functionality to them until other vehicles of similar types also have access to their FCS updated models. Therefore, if you destroy the FCS on the T90M, it doesn't actually do anything. It doesn't take out any of the systems which it's supposed to do. For some reason, the C13 TUA and also many other vehicles, which do have the FCS modeled as well, do have it actually work, and even if a bunch of the competition around its BR do not have it modeled, it doesn't seem to matter. It's one of those very odd double standards that Gaijin has when it comes to a lot of their vehicles. So then you have also the driver controls modeled, which is really cool. A little bit of aluminium in it, but also this vehicle is not designed for surviving shots. It's literally 6mm worth of armor all around, meaning that this vehicle will die very quickly. So what you're looking at from this chassis is not survivability, you're looking for mobility. You're looking for this vehicle to be able to get to flanking spots quickly, to be able to actually take out stuff with the side shots and then kind of go from there. And I think generally it will actually work out pretty well for that. The actual missile it gets access to is the Ito. This one is pretty standard. It's on a lot of vehicles in the game. It has good penetration for the BR. It has good speed. And the other thing that I really like about the C13 TUA is the fact that you can fire two of them. There are so many 80 gem launches in the game around these BRs, like stuff like the M113, right? Which is even in the Italian tech tree at the same BR, which is absolutely hilarious, by the way. I will actually make this comparison once again, just like I did with the M901. But if you have a look at the M113A1 TOW at rank 6, 8.3, exactly the same BR as this one, what you have out of this vehicle is you have a 50 cal, and then you have a single ITOW launcher with a 10-second reload, which is massively less than it was previously. The TUA has a 2 ATGM setup, so you can fire 2, one after the other before reloading, and the reload rate is exactly the same as the standard M113. This means that you can get double the amount of shots off in the C13 TUA compared to the M113. The TUA also has thermals, and also at the same time has better mobility in terms of its transmission, its engine, and its general moving around. So it's just wild to me how this vehicle is always over PR'd compared to everything else that's around. Now, one thing I will mention about the C13 TUA, which does kind of suck a little bit, this vehicle doesn't have smoke grenades. So once you're in a position, once you've fired your ATGMs, people will know exactly where you are, and it will be quite hard to reposition. ATGMs are quite loud. You have to keep them on the target until they actually hit the target, and also, at the same time, you know, people can reposition around them. A lot of the times when you're using these types of launchers, what will happen is people will hear the shot of the ATGM, they will turn to where it's coming from, and then they'll fire upon the vehicle, and their round will get to that vehicle before the ATGM hits them. Happened to me multiple times while using these types of vehicles, and this vehicle won't be any different. It is at a BR where there's less stabilizers, but still quite a lot of them, meaning that you can get accurate shots pretty quickly with this type of vehicle. The other big upgrade that they actually did to this thing, which I think is really cool compared to what you see in the past for ATGM launchers, which was a really, really negative part of it, is the fact that it gets the ammo box. So even though this vehicle only has 10 rounds of ammunition or 10 ATGMs worth of ammunition, it's not a huge deal because you can just plop down the ammo box. Does mean that you're a little bit more stationary, but you can always just go somewhere else and plop down another ammo box to try and help it out. But generally, it will actually improve it and help it out quite a bit. So you can see there with the Alt-E ability, that is the ammo box. So you don't have to go sit on a capture point to be able to try and set it up. Now, some other features. It doesn't have any machine guns, so you are completely limited to your ATGMs. This means that if you are on a map with a fence, you are going to hit that fence with one of the ATGMs before you are going to be able to hit whatever is behind that fence. This is incredibly annoying. I wish it was standard for these types of vehicles to actually have access to some kind of machine gun. But no, it literally only has the turret and itself. It has some pretty cool animations. You just saw one there while we were moving around, where it actually kind of packs it before it goes in. There's a problem with this though, and the problem is the fact that it takes time to get it into position. So you do have to be a bit careful if you move to a position and then, you know, it kind of sets up on top of it. Another cool thing is it has the animation for the reload, so you get to watch something while that goes on. And I think that's also pretty cool for the vehicle too, and copied over from the M901. So what do I think about this vehicle? I think it'll be actually fine. You know, the thermal combo and also the TOWs nowadays, they handle a lot better than they did like a year or two ago, where they completely screwed them when it came to their like being able to actually target with them, because they basically made them overcorrect like crazy. Nowadays, they're a lot better, and you can actually control them a bit better. They still kind of overcorrect, but you can keep it on the target and do generally pretty well with it. And at the same time, having two of them, it means if one misses, you can hit with the other, which is a huge deal for a vehicle like this. So for me, I'm super happy that this has come in. I know a lot of people are probably not going to be happy about it because it's, you know, a mixture of some other vehicles that have already existed. But the thing about it is, would you rather Italy have a unique Squadron vehicle in a fully unique way that was only available through Squadron stuff, or would you prefer to have those types of vehicles in the tech tree? And for me, I would always want those things more in the tech tree, because it means that more people get access to it, and it's also more in the kind of like standard kind of progression of the game, which I think is more important. So as always, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time.
I'd just like to thank GMG Smiley, CD Beans, Chieftain Mike, EMN3 Galaxy, Tulio Pontecorvo, Brendan Quinn, Carrion Crow, Gus Irenicus, Pyman, Wartinder, Teddy, Daniel Stanton, Martinez, B. Young, Ozzy Panzer, Alan Hacker, Liam Shear, Opium Prime, Lafouche, Sem, Aslan, Uncle Bean, and Derek R. for supporting the channel.